Network's on every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 2 Eastern. Think about it, we rant about it. This was live on Facebook. Well, everybody, it is the middle of the week, and let me tell you, my blood pressure must be blowing up. You know, as many of you know, I'm a finance guy, and as the others know, I own also another significant business, the medical supply industry. And I got to deal with everyday labor. And I got to tell you, this labor market is very, very stressful. Once upon a time, it used to be the employee was at the mercy of the employer. Even in an at-will situation, the employee is now controlling this in very, very strange ways. David, how do you feel about this?
Well, listen, I think it goes like it's really gone beyond just like where the employee and it really is about civility. And like once upon a time, you had one of the values that we had was to be civil to each other. It was to be polite to each other. It was to be courteous and somewhat respectful. And what's happened is we've seen this over the last number of decades, is it's just about eroded to zero. And I'll give you a couple of quick examples. You talk about employees, but I'll give you a couple of fun examples that I think that you could figure out where how crazy you are. This is a soccer star who decided to attack a referee in a soccer game. I mean, in what world do we need to go and physically attack someone in a soccer game? So you're saying, okay, these are professionals, blah, blah, blah.
David, hang on a second. Hang on, David. He has balls.
Please. So then we go and attack teachers, assaulting teachers, yelling at teachers. Now, I'm going to tell you, Stuart, your wife, my wife, they're school teachers. My mother taught for over 25 years. And what's amazing is that the parents have become abusive, rude, obnoxious. They're not helping the student. They're not helping their child. They've coddled them. They've done whatever. But the way they've treated any form of authority has gone by the wayside. It's just absolutely disgusting. And I mean, what you said about employees, not even, like you took a job and you didn't have the courtesy to show up to work, or you didn't have the courtesy to, I mean, this has become the norm in our society. And Stuart, I know who I blame. Who do you blame?
It's difficult to blame a political party.
I'm not talking about a party.
I said it's difficult to blame a political party. However, my personal opinion is I blame the education system. They are teaching. I'm blaming the educator.
Okay.
I'm blaming the media, and I'm blaming them because they're misleading this next generation on ethics, morals, and values.
I think you got to go further than that, Stuart. I don't think
really. How far do you think I should go?
I'm going to tell you who I'm going to be blaming. Okay.
Who are you blaming?
You said the media, and I agree with you with the media. But I think there's a combination here. You've got politicians who can't even talk to each other on the other side of the aisle. Now, Bob Dole passed away in the last couple of weeks. And what you hear from both sides of the Republicans and the Democrats, Stuart, is that the man was able to bridge the gap between two parties. What you see today in politics today, for example, is this abusiveness towards each other. Simple use words, hate. I mean, it's vile. Add media, and then add social media. And all of a sudden now, every idiot has in the palm of their hands, in front of their computer, whatever it is, the ability to be abusive anonymously. Thank you, Twitter. Thank you, Jack Dorsey, for putting it out there in such a way that you could do and say whatever you want without repercussions and be simply nasty. I'll go one more step. If you look at today with society, what has happened here is that we flip now a coin, Stuart. You look at what we've had in the last few months, right? We've had defund the police. We've had, go out and defy authority. Our leaders are telling us go defy authority. So this combination, and I don't know, it's just, it's gotten to the point where all of a sudden every idiot thinks they could do whatever they want, however they want, no repercussions.
David, tell me how you really feel.
I can go further than that. Okay.
Please.
Okay. Listen, I'll tell you, and I've told you the story, Stuart. Go into a store. Okay. Go into any store. And I mean, restaurants. There are signs now. I don't know if you've seen them, Stuart. Please be understanding towards our staff. We are short staff. Things will take longer. If you are not content, we ask you to leave. Don't abuse our employees. Don't abuse our staff. I mean, what the hell has happened that we have to put it out there to people to remind people to be nice, polite? Hey, Stuart, the words please, thank you, hello, goodbye. Does anybody talk about that anymore?
David, I had someone come in for a job interview, and I hire them. The labor rates in South Florida used to be $8 to $10 an hour. That ratcheted up, and this is for like warehouse work, ratcheted up to $10 to $12 an hour, and now is ratcheting up to 15 plus. And I hire someone for uneducated, no experience, at whatever rate, but it's a lot more than they would have gotten a year ago. In some cases, nearly double. And you would think that you would be the first one there in the morning at 8 o'clock. You would think that you would be the last one there at 5 o'clock. You would think that you would take your hour lunch and be back on time. You would think that there would be care and respect to have a job.
There isn't. There isn't, no. Stuart. Because I'll jump from you to the next person. I don't need you. But you know what, Stuart? It's just the whole overall attitude. Look at. I mean, driving. I mean, the other day, I heard this person just fly through, and you were actually on the call with me when you went through traffic, and a guy cuts through two lanes, and you ripped on your horn.
He almost hit a woman pushing a stroller at the corner of Collins and 174th or right. Ocean 174th by going around me. And I'm like, dude, I'm waiting here to allow someone. I'm like, buddy. And he's honking, yelling, and screaming at me. And I'm like, dude, you almost killed someone. But we're not talking about the civility of ignorant road ragers and moronic people that don't belong on the road. Right. Most of them actually have Quebec license plates in South Florida sometimes wearing Speedos. But we're talking about employees.
Now that you've insulted my province, congratulations. We feel the same way about you Floridians and Americans, that you're a bunch of assholes and have no absolute sense of civility. Okay, the obnoxiousness and the rudeness. And it's interesting because when you go to people living in the South, Stuart, and I'm talking about not Florida South, but Texans like
God bless him.
God bless his heart. Right? God bless his heart. It's the problem is, and I remember, opening up a door for a lady. You'd open up a door. You were a gentleman. You opened the door for a lady. Okay. Today you try to do that, and you're going to get yelled at because what the hell's wrong with you? I can open the door with my hands. What's wrong? Oh, wait a second. No. We're demeaning women. This is what's coming. It's like we're not looking at the positive of anything anymore. This is only about the negative. This is only about what we do wrong. This is only about how can I crap on somebody because I want to be right, not do the right thing. And there's a difference between doing the right thing and being right. You like to be right. I'm not sure you do always the right thing. But when it comes to dealing with people, that whole civility, that whole relationship that we have between people. I mean, look, it's gone to the point where I would almost rather stay home and not have to deal with people, because when somebody calls you and they're not happy, a client is not happy, they feel they have the right to abuse you. Look, my son works retail. He sells sporting goods. He's 20-something years old. And I got to tell you something. He goes ahead and he's dealing with customers. Okay, he doesn't own the store. It's a corporate owned store, a large chain. And a lady walks in, and there was a mistake made at the cash and it was a mistake at the price. Okay, he corrected it, and she basically rudely said to him, "So what are you going to do for me now? Huh? You're going to give me 50% off? What is that? What is this?"
But again, let's go back to the employee problem, which I think goes into Quebec, but it runs rampant right now in the U.S., where not only can you not find employees, the government's doling out so much money, and instead of increasing the enforcement side of welfare fraud and unemployment fraud, they're increasing the IRS to investigate those people that are putting money into the system. And I had someone in, and they said, yeah, for $15 an hour, I'll just stay home and get my equivalent. And
that's the attitude. That's the attitude. Listen, the notion of going to work in the morning, making an honest day's pay is gone, right? It's attitude. You're telling somebody, listen, get off your sorry ass and do something, right? No, the government's going to dole out the money. I'm going to wait for the government. Attitude. I'm going to wait for the government to do it for me. And then I'm going to go to my Starbucks with my iPhone and my beautiful jacket and boots and whatever and bitch and complain about everything.
You know what you got to really understand? People have to understand how many billions of dollars the U.S. government doled out.
It doesn't matter. People don't care.
But hang on a second. One second. Here's a finance thing. So these not employees, the government doled out billions of dollars. I want you to look at the constraint on luxury good items.
They don't
in the world.
Please. You know what, Stuart? You got it. You got
it.
Don't
you know that everyone that works in a warehouse needs Louis Vuitton?
Listen. Hey,
Hermes belts.
Don't get me started.
These things were once, reserved for the business elite.
Well, but the point is, Stuart, is that the attitude is you owe me, I don't owe you. Your employee says to you, you work for me, I don't work for you. And if I want to take off for lunch 2 hours, screw you. And if I want to do it, it's an attitude. And this is the problem of understanding. And it's going to sound crude, like, you're an employer. You're putting out all the risk. You're putting out the funds. You're doing all that. And that employee is paid to do a job. And their attitude is, well, if you don't like it the way I do it, screw you. Like, this is ridiculous. The whole thing is we flipped everything. Once upon a time, the customer was always right. You heard that. Now, you know what? The customer was never always right. No one is ever always right. But because we put that into people's heads, now every Tom, Dick, and Harry thinks, you owe me. You owe me for everything. Attitude. Okay, and you know what? Again, I go back to what do we watch? We watch politicians on opposite side of an aisle simply tear each other apart without any form of civility. So if our leaders are doing it, why can't
David, I think I'm just going to help end this today by saying there is a rant for every employer. There is a rant for many employees. And at the end of the day, we're coming to an end of one of the most insane years that I could ever recall. And I think most people will agree. I'd like to, David, thank you, because this has been nearly a year of you and I doing these broadcasts 3 times a week, whether together or apart or pre-recorded, but we've actually never rebroadcasted. And, as we get to the end of this year, I think that we should start on Friday, maybe going over and talking about the best of our broadcasts and review and reflect this last year on how so many ideas that we were right before the media ever covered them.
Well, let me tell you something, folks. If you want, we're going to have a 3-parter. It's our top 21 of 21. It may not be in any order particularly, but it's our 21 favorite stories that we dealt with in 2021. And we're going to break it up into 3 sessions, but starting on Friday. So love to hear from you folks. Stay tuned to this Friday where we're going to start to go over the 7 the first 7 stories that we thought made 2021 interesting. On that note, I'm going to wish you all to have a great day. Stay well.